新知，也可以分享你的作品与观点。从履历出发，连接顶尖人才，到吸引潜在的客户与雇主，我们提供你最佳的一站式求职体验，帮你快速找到好工作。全台最优质的人才求职平台 Cake Resume， 找工作 A piece of cake。 找工作你可以很轻松，打开 cakeresume.com， 我们从制作一份专业的履历开始。我们提供多种专业精美的履历模板任你挑选。这个很不错，点选修改内容，调整配色。文字不足以展现你的技能优势，我们支援多媒体素材。排版设计不适合，我们支援各种装置，用手机也可以编辑观看。好了，是时候让人看见你的长才。Cake Resume 求职平台拥有大量的优质工作，上千家知名企业都在这里征才。透过地点、职位、产业、薪资等条件，让你根据个人需求快速找到合适的职缺。点选送出，雇主马上就可以看见你的专业履历。想要主动出击，建立职场人脉，线上社群提供你商务交流与资源串联。在这里，你可以吸收产业新知，也可以分享你的作品与观点。从履历出发，连接顶尖人才，到吸引潜在的客户与雇主，我们提供你最佳的一站式求职体验，帮你快速找到好工作。全台最优质的人才求职平台 Cake Resume， 找工作 A piece of cake。 找工作你可以很轻松，打开 cakeresume.com， 我们从制作一份专业的履历开始。我们提供多种专业精美的履历模板任你挑选。这个很不错，点选修改内容，调整配色。文字不足以展现你的技能优势，我们支援多媒体素材。排版设计不适合，我们支援各种装置，用手机也可以编辑观看。好了，是时候让人看见你的长才。Cake Resume 求职平台拥有大量的优质工作，上千家知名企业都在这里征才。透过地点、职位、产业、薪资等条件，让你根据个人需求快速找到合适的职缺。点选送出，雇主马上就可以看见你的专业履历。想要主动出击，建立职场人脉，线上社群提供你商务交流与资源串联。在这里，你可以吸收产业新知，也可以分享你的作品与观点。从履历出发，连接顶尖人才，到吸引潜在的客户与雇主，我们提供你最佳的一站式求职体验，帮你快速找到好工作。全台最优质的人才求职平台 Cake Resume， 找工作 A piece of cake。 找工作你可以很轻松，打开 cakeresume.com， 我们从制作一份专业的履历开始。我们提供多种专业精美的履历模板任你挑选。这个很不错，点选修改内容，调整配色。文字不足以展现你的技能优势，我们支援多媒体素材。排版设计不适合，我们支援各种装置，用手机也可以编辑观看。好了，是时候让人看见你的长才。Cake Resume 求职平台拥有大量的优质工作，上千家知名企业都在这里征才。透过地点、职位、产业、薪资等条件，让你根据个人需求快速找到合适的职缺。点选送出，雇主马上就可以看见你的专业履历。想要主动出击，建立职场人脉，线上社群提供你商务交流与资源串联。在这里，你可以吸收产业新知，也可以分享你的作品与观点。从履历出发，连接顶尖人才，到吸引潜在的客户与雇主，我们提供你最佳的一站式求职体验，帮你快速找到好工作。全台最优质的人才求职平台 Cake Resume， 找工作 A piece of cake。 找工作你可以很轻松，打开 cakeresume.com， 我们从制作一份专业的履历开始。我们提供多种专业精美的履历模板任你挑选。这个很不错，点选修改内容，调整配色。文字不足以展现你的技能优势，我们支援多媒体素材。排版设计不适合，我们支援各种装置，用手机也可以编辑观看。好了， 是时候让人看见你的长才。Cake Resume 求职平台拥有大量的优质工作，上千家知名企业都在这里征才。透过地点、职位、产业、薪资等条件，让你根据个人需求快速找到合适的职缺，点选送出，雇主马上就可以看见你的专业履历。想要主动出击，建立职场人脉，线上社群提供你商务交流与资源串联。在这里，你可以吸收产业新知，也可以分享你的作品与观点。从履历出发，连接顶尖人才，到吸引潜在的客户与雇主，我们提供你最佳的一站式求职体验，帮你快速找到好工作。全台最优质的人才求职平台 Cake Resume， 找工作 A piece of cake。 找工作你可以很轻松，打开 cakeresume.com， 我们从制作一份专业的履历开始。我们提供多种专业精美的履历模板任你挑选。这个很不错，点选修改内容，调整配色。文字不足以展现你的技能优势，我们支援多媒体素材。排版设计不适合，我们支援各种装置，用手机也可以编辑观看。好了，是时候让人看见你的长才。Cake Resume 求职平台拥有大量的优质工作，上千家知名企业都在这里征才。透过地点、职位、产业、薪资等条件，让你根据个人需求快速找到合适的职缺，点选送出，雇主马上就可以看见你的专业履历。想要主动出击，建立职场人脉，线上社群提供你商务交流与资源串联。在这里，你可以吸收产业新知，也可以分享你的作品与观点。从履历出发，连接顶尖人才，到吸引潜在的客户与雇主，我们提供你最佳的一站式求职体验，帮你快速找到好工作。全台最优质的人才求职平台 Cake Resume， 找工作 A piece of cake。 找工作你可以很轻松，打开 cakeresume.com， 我们从制作一份专业的履历开始。我们提供多种专业精美的履历模板任你挑选。这个很不错，点选修改内容，调整配色。文字不足以展现你的技能优势，我们支援多媒体素材。排版设计不适合，我们支援各种装置，用手机也可以编辑观看。好了，是时候让人看见你的长才。Cake Resume 求职平台拥有大量的优质工作，上千家知名企业都在这里征才。透过地点、职位、产业、薪资等条件，让你根据个人需求快速找到合适的职缺，点选送出，雇主马上就可以看见你的专业履历。想要主动出击，建立职场人脉，线上社群提供你商务交流与资源串联。在这里，你可以吸收产业新知，也可以分享你的作品与观点。从履历出发，连接顶尖人才，到吸引潜在的客户与雇主，我们提供你最佳的一站式求职体验，帮你快速找到好工作。全台最优质的人才求职平台 Cake Resume， 找工作 A piece of cake。 找工作你可以很轻松，打开 cakeresume.com， 我们从制作一份专业的履历开始。我们提供多种专业精美的履历模板任你挑选。这个很不错，点选修改内容，调整配色。文字不足以展现你的技能优势，我们支援多媒体素材。排版设计不适合，我们支援各种装置，用手机也可以编辑观看。好了，是时候让人看见你的长才。Cake Resume 求职平台拥有大量的优质工作，上千家知名企业都在这里征才。透过地点、职位、产业、薪资等条件，让你根据个人需求快速找到合适的职缺，点选送出，雇主马上就可以看见你的专业履历。想要主动出击，建立职场人脉，线上社群提供你商务交流与资源串联。在这里，你可以吸收产业新知，也可以分享你的作品与观点。从履历出发，连接顶尖人才，到吸引潜在的客户与雇主，我们提供你最佳的一站式求职体验，帮你快速找到好工作。全台最优质的人才求职平台 Cake Resume， 找工作 A piece of cake。 找工作 你可以很轻松。打开 cakeresume.com， 我们从制作一份专业的履历开始。我们提供多种专业精美的履历模板任你挑选。这个很不错。点选修改内容，调整配色。文字不足以展现你的技能优势，我们支援多媒体素材。排版设计不适合，我们支援各种装置，用手机也可以编辑观看。好了，是时候让人看见你的长才。Cake Resume 求职平台拥有大量的优质工作，上千家知名企业都在这里征才。透过地点、职位、产业、薪资等条件，让你根据个人需求快速找到合适的职缺。点选送出，雇主马上就可以看见你的专业履历。想要主动出击建立职场人脉，线上社群提供你商务交流与资源串联。在这里，你可以吸收产业新知，也可以分享你的作品与观点。从履历出发，连接顶尖人才，到吸引潜在的客户与雇主。我们提供你最佳的一站式求职体验，帮你快速找到好工作。全台最优质的人才求职平台 Cake Resume， 找工作 A piece of cake。 找工作你可以很轻松。打开 cakeresume.com， 我们从制作一份专业的履历开始。我们提供多种专业精美的履历模板任你挑选。这个很不错。点选修改内容，调整配色。文字不足以展现你的技能优势，我们支援多媒体素材。排版设计不适合，我们支援各种装置，用手机也可以编辑观看。好了，是时候让人看见你的长才。Cake Resume 求职平台拥有大量的优质工作，上千家知名企业都在这里征才。透过地点、职位、产业、薪资等条件，让你根据个人需求快速找到合适的职缺。点选送出，雇主马上就可以看见你的专业履历。想要主动出击建立职场人脉，线上社群提供你商务交流与资源串联。在这里，你可以吸收产业新知，也可以分享你的作品与观点。从履历出发，连接顶尖人才，到吸引潜在的客户与雇主。我们提供你最佳的一站式求职体验，帮你快速找到好工作。全台最优质的人才求职平台 Cake Resume， 找工作 A piece of cake。 找工作你可以很轻松。打开 cakeresume.com， 我们从制作一份专业的履历开始。我们提供多种专业精美的履历模板任你挑选。
最长时间多久？
这个很不错。点选修改内容，调整配色。文字不足以展现你的技能优势，我们支援多媒体素材。排版设计不适合，我们支援各种装置，用手机也可以编辑观看。好了，是时候让人看见你的长才。Cake Resume 求职平台拥有大量的优质工作，上千家知名企业都在这里征才。透过地点、职位、产业、薪资等条件，让你根据个人需求快速找到合适的职缺。点选送出，雇主马上就可以看见你的专业履历。想要主动出击建立职场人脉，线上社群提供你商务交流与资源串联。在这里，你可以吸收产业新知，也可以分享你的作品与观点。从履历出发，连接顶尖人才，到吸引潜在的客户与雇主。我们提供你最佳的一站式求职体验，帮你快速找到好工作。全台最优质的人才求职平台 Cake Resume， 找工作 A piece of cake。 找工作你可以很轻松。
Hello， 大家好，欢迎来到今天的 Cake Resume 第19场职涯探索活动。那来看一下线上的朋友，请问线上朋友有听到声音吗？如果有的话，请帮我回复一下有听到的。好，那也跟线下的朋友说明一下，就是我们今天这场活动呢会有同步的线上直播。那这个线上直播呢之后会长久的留在 Cake Resume 的 YouTube 上面，所以也欢迎大家回去可以再重复的播放。那我这边呢，就是来先为这个活动做一个简单的开场。那先跟大家说声 Hello， 我是 Cake Resume 的 Joe， 然后非常感谢大家在宝贵的周六晚上来参加这样的一场活动。而且我看温度外面好像蛮冷， 虽然说我自己是一直都没有走出去，对，所以呢，就是我们今天有为大家准备了2桶热的天然茗茶。那等一下的话，就是欢迎大家活动进行的当中，如果想装的话，也可以就是默默的帮我们离开位置 ，OK 这样子。好，那我这边呢就先来跟大家介绍一下 Cake Resume 的 Talent Connect 的系列活动。那我想问一下，说在参加这场活动前，请问有多少人听过 Cake Resume Technology 的手吗？好，几乎全部。那有用过我们的平台做履历或找工作的，可以再帮我点。哇，好多哦！好，你不要这样子没关系。好，非常感谢大家。那Cake Resume 是一个怎么样的平台呢？我们是希望能够连接所有的优秀的人才跟他适合的机会。那好，就是呢，我们的愿景是说，我们希望可以去连接全世界的优秀人才跟他们适合的环境、适合的公司、适合的机会。那我们目前呢，在全球已经有超过580万左右的使用者，然后是遍布在全球超过200个国家。那我们在台湾呢，主要有跟3大领域的公司合作，像是画面上的大家应该都是耳熟能详的公司，来自科技产业、来自金融产业，还有来自消费，还有零售。那什么是 Talent Connect 呢？就是其实它是从我们算是愿景出发的系列活动，就像我刚刚提到的，就是我们希望能够让全世界的优秀的人才都能够连接到优秀的适合他们的机会。那 Talent Connect 这样子的概念呢，就产生出来，然后延伸有像是我本人所主持的科技起来的 Podcast， 或者是像今天的这样子的活动。那这个除了就是台湾的人才，我们希望他能够找到适合的机会之外呢，我们也希望说，不仅是在台湾的机会，全世界的机会都可能是各位有机会发展的职涯的故事。所以我们也会希望把各种各样的来自全世界各地的职涯故事都分享给大家。比如说像今天的 Chloe 跟 Jackie 都是很好的对象。好，那Talent Connect的系列活动其实有各种不同的形式，或者是各种不同的主题。比如说，像我们会讨论说，一个单纯的就是个人的工作者，他可能历经过大公司，或者是历经过新创，他的历程是怎么样，他的心得是怎么样，或者是像一些台湾很有名的新创是怎么样从零开始去累积到今天的成绩。好，那另外呢，就是有像类似今天的这样子的活动职涯分享，然后我在准备简报的时候，突然发现其实这张是 Jackie， 对，他约莫在2年前的时候呢，参加过我们的Talent Connect系列的活动。对，那这是在我们之前的办公室。好，那另外也有像是比较校园的活动，那也到校园去跟学生分享说，他们的学长姐是如何累积职涯历程，如何去累积相关的技能来到达他们理想的职涯的样貌，或者是像是比较 workshop 的形式。可能会邀请说专业的职场人士来跟你分享说，比如说行销的一些实际的专案要如何进行，或者是 BD 的技巧有哪些。好，那最后呢，就是简单的跟大家分享说，我们最近呢 Cake Resume 的 App 上面推出了全新的功能，叫做 Cake Resume Meet。那它是一个连接职场人脉的功能，也可以根据你自己的需求，比如说你是一位企业雇主，你想要找人才，那你就可以设定说，雇主我想要找人才，那它就会配对成想要找雇主的人才给你这样子。总而言之，就是你可以根据你的个人需求去在这个 app 上面去配对，还有就是希望能够借由这个 app 让大家去连接更多的职涯机会。好，那我的介绍呢就到这边。那接下来呢，我就把这个完整的主持棒交给那线上的朋友，我有看到你们有关于音质的一些回馈，那我们稍后会把麦克风打远一点，看能不能有所改善。那如果有任何问题的话，你再持续的在聊天室里面跟我们分享。
太大声，太近，
拿远一点。
好，听到吗？嗨，大家好，我是 Jackie， 然后我是 Podcast TMT 左边的主持人，然后我们是一个以自我成长为主轴的 Podcast。那今天很荣幸有这个机会，想先谢谢 Cake Resume 用就我的帮忙，然后这个场地还有所有的工作人员 Jay、Claire 还有Angel， 谢谢大家。好，大家给 Cake Resume 拍个手吧，谢谢他们。然后很荣幸有机会可以来当你们的主持人，来访问 Chloe。然后今天 Chloe 的妈妈也有到场，在后面Cleo阿姨、Cleo 姐姐，大家给她拍个手。好， 好，那Chloe的背景大家都知道，都非常的有趣。以前是在纽约认识的，大概5、6年前，在 IG 认识的，做共同好友Sean， 对，然后Chloe 的经历就以前在 Google、Meta， 在 TikTok、Discord， 然后之前是转职到 PM 的这个角色，所以他的职业的旅程非常精彩，非常有趣，非常 inspiring， 所以我们今天可以从他身上学到很多的东西。然后大家知道 Chloe 有一个很多人看的 YouTube 频道，还有很多人看 TikTok 频道，所以今天除了会讲到说他在当 PM 的过程，在职涯上学到什么，也会聊到他身为创作者怎么样平衡这个创作者跟一个职涯 PM 的2个角色。然后大家如果不知道 ，Chloe 之前也是 Forbes 富比士under 30的关于 gaming 的系列里面的赢家，所以大家知道。然后大家如果有 follow Chloe 的 YouTube， 知道 Chloe 最近刚 engage， 刚被求婚，然后也买了一新东西。好，那我们开始前，我们先一些破冰的一些比较轻松的问题。所以今天的节奏就是会是我主持嘛，然后 Chloe 可能很多时候会用英文，然后会用中文去拯救他，所以，所以你会怎么样形容你自己，你的个性？因为很多人可能知道你线上的人设，但今天线下看到很多人。
我的朋友都会跟我说，我长得很 sweet，very kind，very nice。但是我像一个小熊 ，like 我是一个小熊，但是我有一把刀。Very smiley, but like will kill you. Yes.
看起来很天真可爱，但其实很有杀伤力。
Yes.
Okay.
Do you agree?
Yeah.
Thank you, Jackie. 谢谢你，谢谢好朋友。
好，那我们今天就进入你的简报。
OK。喂。
哦，对，这边对，所以我们今天会讲 Chloe 的背景，她的职业旅程，然后从中间学到的东西，然后最后会有个 Q&A， 所以大家什么问题可以在下一个 Slido 里面提问，然后如果你没有问题，你也可以在上面去投票，所以别人的问题你觉得很好，你可以投票去加一，所以所以等一下会有线上的问题，会有线下的问题，那会以线下问题为主。
哇 ，Q&A， 好多 ，OK。好
，OK 哦。
后面的没有，后面还有。OK 咯。
好，开始吧。
OK， 所以大家好，我是 Chloe。我想先说我的中文很烂，然后我今天最 nervous 是讲中文。OK，so 不好意思，我会努力。我开始要分享我的 background， 我的背景。所以我是台湾人，我在洛杉矶长大的。我的爸爸妈妈好像26岁移民到美国，然后我是 from a low income immigrant family， 没有很多钱 ，OK。然后他们英文都不知道，然后他们没有 resources， 没有 connection。所以我是最大，我是老大，我有2个弟弟。So I had to do everything on my own first. It was really hard, okay? It's really hard out there. Just want to share, that's mom, that's my dad, and that's a dog. Let's talk about education. K through 12, 我都在公立学校。The new vocabulary I learned. 都是公立学校。然后我大学的时候，进入了 Claremont Colleges. 所以如果你有听过 Pitzer College, Pomona, Claremont McKenna.Harvey Light Scripts 就是那一所文理学校 ，Liberal Arts College， yes。然后我那时候是医学科pre-med，
医疗科系，
医疗科
转工程科系，
然后我转到 Columbia University， 我做一个 3+2 program， 3 years of liberal arts and 2 years of engineering at Columbia, New York。
为什么会想转到工程？因为这2个差很多。
因为我爸爸逼我做 pre-med， 然后 sorry mom， 然后我真的很不喜欢，然后我觉得我的 classmate 都很 competitive， 然后我想要真的去学 like all my classes, but they just want to like steal my homework. You know what I mean? Like my side story, my roommate was pre-med. And I'd be sleeping, right? And she'd be like, hey, can I borrow your chemistry homework? And I'm sleeping. And I was like, And then she takes it out of my backpack and她会抄，但是她不会跟我讲如果我错的。You know what I mean? That's like pre-med culture. 所以我就觉得 Oh my God。
所以工程师比较好相处。
对，工程师的 students they're gonna fail anyways。
难怪会当 PM。
Yeah. But they just want to learn. 他们喜欢帮助Yes, collaborate. Yeah.
互相帮忙。
对，互相帮忙。谢谢 Jackie。Yeah. 所以我想要 share 我在大学的工作 a lot of internships. It's all over the place. I first was a tumor cell biology lab assistant at City of Hope, which is a cancer research hospital. And then I was a fossil researcher.
考古学家。
Birds, dinosaurs. If you ever been to the Natural History Museum and you see the dinosaur, 我会去那个后面，然后拿那个 bird 下来 measure. That was wild. 然后我去 Boeing 上班，所以这是我好像10年前的在 Boeing Dreamlifter。所以你有飞 EVA Airlines, China Airlines, Boeing， 就是这个。Yeah, and I interned there. And I also had a lot of other jobs in school.
你在博英做了什么
IT.
Wow, okay.
Yes. And it was in South Carolina.
Wow.
没有 Asians. 恐怖。
所以你会学程式。
What did you say?
Do you program?
我以前有。Yeah, but I'm a very bad software engineer. I failed all of my coding interviews.
It's okay.
Traverse a binary tree. I don't know. Yeah, so I worked a lot of jobs.
在好奇现场有多少人是 PM？
Oh,
okay.
Almost one half.
多少人是工程师？
Wow, okay. Let's 继续。然后我要分享我的 career journey.
等一下，你在 intern 的时候，你觉得你学到最大的东西是什么？以一个学生来说，
都是学到我不喜欢这个。But it's very important. It's still 很重要. You have to know what you don't like. Yeah, so that when you have what you like and you don't think about the other paths, I think that's important to know yourself. But yeah. Okay. 然后我要 share 我的 career journey. 所以我是 my career journey. 我最后一年 I applied to a lot of jobs, and as a software engineer, it's kind of I'm gonna say it's really easy to get a job out of college as a software engineer.
Okay, nice.
But for everyone else,
我以前是自学的，所以认。
Oh really?
Yeah.
What did you study?
Hardware.
Oh well, so did Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That doesn't count. All right, but I think it's really hard to get a job out of college. You have no experience, and you're supposed to get a job, and they want you to have experience. So I applied to like 500 jobs in my senior year, and I finally got Google callback. And I would say I really don't know what this job is, but it's called a staffing services associate, and it's HR recruiting 之类的那种工作。And I was like so happy I got it. I was like, Google, oh my God. My mom, you're gonna be so proud of me. Google, 他知道 Google 是什么。And then I was like, I'm done. I'm set for my entire life. And then 3个月后我就发现我什么都没做。Like 我的工作的内容 is 没有意思的。Every day was like the same. And I knew I wasn't learning anything. I wasn't meeting anyone. I knew that if I did the same thing for 5 years, I would get nowhere. It was a dead-end job. And that's okay. Sometimes there are jobs like that, and that's fine. But for me, I had to recognize that that's where it was going to take me, and I needed to change something about myself. So then I did all my coffee chats. I talked to a lot of people, and I knew that I loved entertainment. I loved technology. And I thought, oh, maybe I can do gaming, because that's like the intersection of both. So then I interviewed everywhere. Oh, I studied SQL to be a business analyst. And because I wanted to like work on my engineering side, do some hard skills. And then I got 3 offers. One is from a startup that was a mobile gaming startup. And then the second one was from Google, another team for the one that does analytics for Pokemon Go. 你知道 Pokemon Go 吗? Okay, yeah. So that team. And then the last one is from a live streaming startup. And for the first mobile gaming startup, 我去 interview 的时候，我在那个 building, 我看80个人都是男生。And I'm like, I'm not going to be the first one. No, not me. That's someone else's job. But they're like, oh, diversity. No, I don't see diversity. And I don't want to be that one. So I was like, no. But then Google versus the startup, the live streaming one, 真的很难选择。因为我知道我在 Google 的 journey 都会 very, very determined. I know what's going to happen. It's very safe. 但是我去那个 startup, 我觉得那个 founders 很 like they really believed in me. And I love their vision, I love their mission. I would be employee number 13, and I could do something really, really different. So then I joined. And I joined Caffeine. I did everything under the sun as you do in startups, from marketing to biz dev to program management to developer relations. And then I finally built my own team called the Creative Partnerships team, where we worked with all kinds of content creators. So if you guys know anyone in gaming, streaming, on Twitch, on YouTube, I partnered with people like Valkyrie, Disguised Toast, Offline TV, 100 Thieves, League Championship Series to produce these huge productions and just change the way that we engage with digital culture. So it was really cool. However, I would say, have you ever been in a startup? Oh, you are now. Yeah. I'd say startups, it's really, I guess, life-changing, but it takes one bad apple to ruin your stomach. Yeah, just one bad person, and you're left, you're gonna be miserable, and you can't run away from them. But at a big company, you can run away from them. So it's but we raised $47 million from Andreessen Horowitz and Grey Law Partners, which were some of the top in the VC world. And then our Series C was $100 million from 21st Century Fox. And it was just a crazy time when we recruited all kinds of really bad people. And I was unfortunately in the middle of all of that. I was treated really horribly. I get yelled at. I get blamed for a lot of things. And I actually at the time escaped from work. I came to Taiwan to heal for a month. I remember that. And then I got a tattoo. yeah. Sorry, Mom. Yeah, so that's that.
你在那个新创多久？在咖啡
？2.5 years.
2.5 years.
Yeah.
Wow. When did they start getting really bad?
Honestly, in 1.5 years.
Okay.
After we raised Series C and then we recruited more people and went to around 50 people, culture started to change. When you no longer can have everyone in the same room and you have to exclude people, that's when culture changes.
然后在 Google 那时候3个月就走了。
No, this is 1年。
1年 ，OK。
Yeah, 3个月我就发现 oh shit. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the Kool-Aid wore off.
那你觉得就是在 Google 1年，然后跟新创1年半那个时候文化还是好的时候，你学到东西应该多很多吧？在新创比起来，跟 Google 比起来 ，Yeah。
新创和 startup。
Yeah， 新创。
Yeah。
Okay。所以你会建议就是大学毕业后的人先去新创还是去大公司吗
？Not necessarily， 因为有很多人如果是在台湾长大的 ，you don't have a visa， 所以我觉得我很多台湾的朋友去大公司 because of visas。And startups, you get laid off really easily, so it's really hard to find another job. So I think it's actually safer to go to big tech.
可能大公司跟新创的比较，在台湾也可以比嘛，对，台湾有大公司，
对，也可以啊，
对吧？你会建议就是，如果是不管是台湾或是美国的，如果是你重新来过，你会一样去 Google， 一样去 Campaign 这样的顺序吗？还是你会先去锻炼一下？
我不知道是因为我觉得我在 startup 的时候，我自己都不知道 how to do it, because no one's going to teach you. 但是在大公司 they will teach you, but everything's so slow. And if you try hard, you will not get promoted easily, so you won't get given opportunities. 但是因为我有 Facebook 跟 Google 在我的 resume 上 other opportunities open. So it's you have to do it to get noticed, but I don't think that's where you shine unless you are very lucky and you're on a really strong research team, experimental team. But generally, most of the time, you're on a pretty crappy team and you don't do much in your career, which is fine. It's perfectly fine. Yeah.
对，我觉得可能看人吧，看每个人口味。
当然看人。
但在大公司有它好处，就是很多 mentorship， 很多人会带你，会教一些，你会学到一些大公司怎么 scale 他们的一些不管是 product 的一些做法什么的。
Yeah, and it's really comfortable. 然后如果你要买房子的话 ，it's really good. The benefits. 如果你要生小孩的话 ，very good for that too. Yeah. So it depends on your stage of life, but I think both are really important. Yeah. 然后我就在 startup 觉得 okay, this is too toxic for me. I need to leave and go somewhere where I feel safe. And that was at Facebook. And I wanted to do product, but there was no way I could break in. I tried so hard and I shipped products before, but I couldn't get a good enough opportunity to do it. So I got a transition role or an adjacent role called product development specialist, which helps product managers but isn't product work. 然后我在 Facebook groups， 你们知道 Facebook groups 吗
？Facebook 群组，对。
Yeah.
不过这个 product development specialist 这个职位蛮有趣的。 他不是 PM， 他当然是他是产品专家吗？对对对，专门研究一个产品的，但是他可能不会是做决定的人，他会研究一些产品的东西。
是因为在大公司有很多 products are working, but they don't talk to each other. So you have like this huge discipline called product operations to manage all the different products to make sure they touch okay and they don't break. Yeah.
PM 之间的桥梁。
对 ，only at big companies. Yeah. It's not fun， 很难。Yeah. 然后我就觉得 maybe sorry go back. 然后我就觉得我在 Facebook it was really good and fun， 但是我做得到的事情没有很多。It's all bureaucracy. There's reorgs I was reorged 6 times in like 4 months. It was crazy. 你有 reorg 过吗？
很多次。
对。And then
reorg 是重组。
Yeah， 要一直重新开始。New manager 很累 and you can't build a career and you can't get promoted and you can't like get anything done because you're just going to get reorged. So I think maybe this is not for me. 然后那时候 TikTok was hiring like crazy and they recruited me. And then you know what's funny? On my resume, I put Chinese and English for the languages. 然后my interview 1个小时 before, 他们说 the interviewer is going to speak in Chinese. Is that okay? I was like, no. 然后我就打电话给我爸爸 help me. Product manager 是什么？产品管理。Okay. 超恐怖的。It was the scariest interview I've ever had. I was sweating out of my pits. And it was at 8点 because 要北京跟 US. Oh my god. Anyway, I don't know how I passed it, but I did. And I did it. And I was on the trust and safety team. Combating harassment and bullying, and was on TikTok live, and it was really cool. Strongest engineers I've ever met, strongest. Like 他们就是我就给他们 proposal， 然后他们说yeah okay， 然后明天就 okay done， and I'm like did you sleep? No, they did not. Yeah.
不过我蛮好奇这一点，因为其实这是你第一份正式的 PM 工作，对不对？所以这是一个 transition。
It was.
然后在面试 TikTok 的时候，因为他可能看你的经验，不是以前没有当过正式 PM， 他会就是问你说，那他们会给你刁难你吗？或者想 How do they know that you're going to transition into? How do you convince them that you transition to a PM?
It's kind of like my title doesn't say PM, but this is what I did, and it's basically PM work. So at Facebook, I had to fight to do PM work, and then just like act really confident. Yes. 要很有自信 to say I can do the job and this is how 我的想法 this is your problem and this is how I'm going to fix it. Yeah.
Don't do the job you're given, do the job you want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Boom, boom. Good. But it was my first PM job and then my salary 3倍 tripled. Yeah, my compensation. It was that big of a difference because PM San Francisco 旧金山超贵，在那里超贵 and it was just really felt I couldn't save enough money to build a family in my home. So it changed my life. Yeah. But TikTok is wild. You know, 996 culture. Yeah, it's real. And then 我会跟我的老板说 I worked too much last night. And 他会说 well, I was at the office until 1 a.m. last night. How about you? And I'm like, 对不起。好，我走了。And I'm like, that's it. You know, that's what the culture is. It's different. So I thought, I can't do this in the future. It's too much. But you're cool. I'm gonna leave.
你在那边撑多久了
？1年3个月。
wow. Okay.
That's pretty good.
Facebook 呢
10月吧。
10月，然后你每个都蛮。
But Facebook was vesting quarterly.
Oh yeah.
Can you? I don't know explain.
它是Facebook 的股份是每个 quarter 会给一次，不是1年。
对 ，TikTok 是1年 ，so I had to wait for 1 year. This is actually very important. When you want to quit, 你一定要 after your equity vests, okay? You can't just quit anytime.
以前的公司会是1年之后才开始给股份，然后现在 Facebook 以前改成就是3个月开始就给，3个月。
Yeah, Google 也是。
Google 也是。
Yeah. Quit time. Okay. 然后我就进入了 Discord. 他们 reached out to me on LinkedIn and they saw my background. They're like, I'd love to have you as a PM. And I interviewed and then I joined and I led the community engagement team. So like a Discord community, what are tools you can build to make sure your members engage? And then I changed to the creator revenue team for creators on Discord. How do they make money? And I got to work with amazing content creators. You guys know Colin and Samir, who are the voices of the creator economy at least in the US market. So I got to host an event with them, and yeah, and that's my career. And then in the last 2 years, I started my own media company, Colors of Chloe LLC. And I wanted to share the reason why I started to do this. It's because in my career path, I think was so you know what I mean? Because I feel like I work so hard. This is my only identity. I didn't call home a lot. I'm sorry, Mom. But I would work nights, weekends, because I wanted to be successful. I wanted to make enough money. I wanted to make a name for myself. But I would never get the credit. Some random VP above me would have their name on the project or on the PR article, and it would never be me. And I felt invisible. I felt erased. So then what I did was I would just post that accomplishment on Facebook or just my social to share with my friends. So at least it'd be real for my friends and for myself. And that's how it started. And then, yeah, when I officially started, it's been a big journey. It's kind of a shameless slide, so don't think about it too much. But I did get through my first 10万. What? That's all. Thank you.
很少人在经营 LinkedIn 这时候 LinkedIn 可以多久吗？
台湾人会用 LinkedIn 吗？
没有，我们用 Cake Resume 啊。
Oh yeah. Resume, I need to make a profile.
好用多了。
Okay. Yeah. So sorry. And then Forbes and Business Insider got a lot of honors, and I partnered with a lot of amazing brands to uplift their brand messaging.
咖啡蜜水果有。
Yo, I want to spread love, just like Cake Resume does with their
Cake Resume meets.
Yeah, Cake Resume. Very similar, right? Yeah, but it's been an amazing journey, and I want to keep doing it. Yeah.
Wow.
Shall we move into product manager? Do you have more questions?
Let's see.
Next
How
one.
do you manage so many platforms at the same time?
You have to prioritize. I do PM my social media. I do. Like, which one do I want to focus on first? And like short form first, long form first, because you have limited resources, you have limited time, and as a content creator, the only failure is when you burn out. Actually, like, it's not about making bad videos, because you have to make 100 bad videos until you make your first good video. But when you burn out, that's when you lose. So you have to manage what you're willing to do and what aligns with you and what you can do long term.
At what point did you find your product market fit for your content?
I actually don't think. I mean, the PM career stuff was what I started with because I felt the most comfortable, because that's my whole personality for the most of my adulthood. But then I think that I don't think I'm trying to find product market fit. I'm trying to just build what I think I want to create, and then I think the audiences will eventually get there. So if I wanted to find product market fit, I would grow so much faster. It's like, I know I can just be a Minecraft creator, a Roblox creator, and get really big. That's product market fit. But I think it has to be true to what I want to share.
所以，身为创作者，不只是像 PM 一样去找产品那个什么产品市场的切合的，而是做你自己想做的内容，然后自然就会有很多粉丝来找你。
Yeah, but you have to be really patient because it's not very immediate.
对对对。
Yeah. 但是我希望可以在台湾跟台湾的 audience 分享。But 我的台湾的朋友说我太 ABC 了，所以台湾的人不喜欢看我。
这边很多人也粉丝啊。
You probably speak English, right? Yeah. So hard.
所以你可以说，你可以 PM 的工作上很多东西用到你的
真的有
创作者上，
Yeah.
很多交流，然后你会分享很多关于你工作的东西，所以我觉得这个之间的交流很酷。你用创作内容来讲一些你工作上的东西，然后工作上需要的东西来创作内容来切西瓜。
对，我是切西瓜的，我喜欢西瓜姐。Yeah. But I know a lot of you are here because you're interested in product management, so I'm going to go into that. What is 产品管理? Oh my god. I think for most people probably know, but I'll just explain from the basics. If you want to know what it is, you have to really understand what a product or feature is. And I really get it from the world of consumer tech. So 就是在你的
用户产品。
用户产品 yes. So for example, like if you're on Uber Eats and you need to make a group order, that feature exists. Like, you've definitely been there, and there is a whole product team that has like metrics to drive that proposed this and then made it happen. Think about Twitch subscriptions. Once upon a time, you can only subscribe each person, but then they realized that you as a whale can buy multiple subscriptions and gift it to other people because you want to stand out. You want to show your streamer that you are a huge supporter. So that was really, really big. This actually is one of my favorite features of all time. I think it generated like over 50 to 80% of the revenue for Twitch. It was crazy. Like gifted subs was a really good product. And then the third is like, on YouTube, YouTubers are doing everything for free, and you as the viewer want to support your YouTuber and make sure they continue to make quality videos, and they create super things. So all of this has at least one product manager and product team, if not dozens. Like, I think Facebook Messenger 有500个人，
差不多。
对 ，IG 有几个人
？IG 几千个人。
Yeah. Facebook Groups 也是500个人。
哇。
Marketplace is very similar.
那里面有几%的人是 PM？
I think the ratio is 1 to 10 engineers.
OK， 10个工程师1个 PM。
但是有很多 cross-functional partners, marketing, data, design, research.
你对过最多的是几个工程师？
工程师，现在 like I think right now is almost like 15.
一个人对15个人工程师。
I have a manager， 但是他是 like strategy， 然后我是 execution。很多人 ，I'm tired 想放假。Okay, so as a product manager, you really have 3 parts of your job. Number 1 is you need to be able to articulate what a winning product looks like.
找到这个设计的产品什么样子，成功的产品什么样子，对。
And number 2 is you need to be able to rally the entire team to execute it.
去激励一个你的团队去跟你一起去执行。
And the third is you iterate until you get it right.
是不断重复的去进化演练，直到它做到更好的产品为止。
And that is kind of the life that you live as a PM. But at the end of the day, engineers will code and program, designers will design, and PMs make decisions. And it's kind of a tough job because you are not someone's manager. People don't report to you. You don't have that like immediate respect, but you have to be their leader. They have to do what you say, and you have to be really good at convincing them that it's the right thing to do. And it's very tricky to balance.
对啊，因为你跟人家合作的时候，你不是他们的老板，然后你不是他们发薪水的人，你怎么样去说服他们你做的决定是对的，然后让他们觉得想跟你一起前进。
Yeah. So generally, what your day-to-day looks like, if you want to go into product management, you're going to be working with a ton of engineers all the time, and anywhere from 2 to 15 engineers. I'm just going to briefly go over this. So all the engineer types, then you have your product team. So you are the product manager, you have a designer, you have a data scientist or a product analyst for data. You have a product marketing manager to help your product go to market. You have a UX writer or content strategist who write the copy on the app because it's really hard. And then you have a UX researcher, and you might have a technical program manager. And if none of these exist, then you are everything, right? You do the marketing, you do the research, you do the copy, okay. And then you work with cross-functional partners. These are just a lot of people that you have to make happy, that you have to comply with, that you have to constantly meet. So if you hate meetings, you should not be a product manager. Yeah. All right, moving on. So how exactly are products shipped? How does it show up on the APP? There's 4 different phases. Sorry, was that inappropriate? There are 4 phases, and number 1 is the understand phase. This is where you define the problem or the opportunity, your user segment, your customers, and you work with your designer to put together a design solution. And once you feel like this is what we should invest in, you got to pitch it to all your executives, everyone in compliance, and everyone in engineering, and they have to greenlight your proposal. And usually this sucks. This part really sucks because you're going to present and they're going to be like, wait, why? Why is this? This is a bad idea. And it's always, 我们这时候会哭很多，这时候 okay? Very sad time. I think we call it a proverbial firing squad. I don't know how to. It's like when you go to a meeting, everyone's just shooting at you.
感觉你要当PM，你要说服那个 leadership 上级的人，然后你要让下面的跟你一起合作的工程师也说服他们你做的事情对的，所以上下都要被
Yeah,
好假的。
真的 you have to defend it. It's really, really stressful. And you have to know everything inside and out. You have to have an answer for everything. But, that's what it is. And then after you get green light, amazing. You go through execution, which is just working with your designer and your engineers to make it happen. And this could be anywhere from 1 month to 6 months to a year.
上面那个就是 understanding 和 review 的时间的时程。
It depends on the company. 因为如果你有 UX researcher 的话，他们可能3个月到6个月会做 research， 然后就 present 给你，然后你要看他们的 research。Figure out a proposal from it and to create it. 但是我差不多是 like maybe 2 weeks to write everything and be like, all right, here's something, let's go. But I think it's a lot slower. Yeah, but you have to do this really early. You have to think about this like next year, 2 years down the line, 5 years down the line. What does it look like?
那你待过的每一家公司啊，每家公司的这个 flow 是特别快或特别慢。
对。
有吗？
Wait, what? Say that one more time.
So all the companies that you've been at, right?
Yeah.
All have different flows, different speed, right? Is there one company that's faster or slower that stands out to you?
TikTok is the fastest.
Really?
Do you know what Twitch Studio is? 你们用过 Twitch Studio 吗？就是直播的，像 OBS.
Okay.
It's like OBS if you're streaming. Twitch Studio took years to build it. I saw TikTok build that in 3 months. I saw the proposal and then I saw the demo and I was like, 3 months.
What do you think that is? Why are they so fast?
Because they want to, 996. The engineers他们有在他们的公司有 pillow to sleep. 他们会 就是12点回家，然后8点就回去。
那这个过程中会有工程师跟你说，我不喜欢这个 idea， 我拒绝。
会啊，当然会啊。
那怎么去说服他们？
You just ask them why. Just have a discussion. I'm not always right. And if you think you're always right, then you're probably wrong. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I thought you were gonna. Yeah. But yeah, execution, it's hard. It's a really hard thing. You have to be really good at project management, having people be on time. It's always a negotiation. Be like, hey, engineers, are you finishing that? They're like, no. And I'm like, okay, why? Like, oh, hey, do you have time to build this one thing? And they're like, I hate you, Chloe. But yes, so that's this part. And then you test. So a lot of testing is, how to explain this? Basically, you can't just build something from beginning to end and think it's going to be success. Like, group orders or Twitch subscriptions, like gifted subs. Like, it's never that product that's going to make it towards the end. You have to find the minimum amount of work you need to validate that this problem can be solved by this product. And you test it and you see your metrics move and you're like, okay, that's amazing. And you keep iterating until you think it's ready to go to market. And that could take like months.
做到那个最小产品的那个规格，然后不断的测试，一直去 A/B test， 然后不断的调整，然后去我们的用户的回馈跟数据上去做调整。
是的 yes. And then when you're ready to launch, you release, you roll out, and then you measure the success of your product. And this is the slide. You can take a picture. But I also want to talk about the question that I get all the time. Chloe, how do you know that you're building the right product? How do you know you're being successful? And this is actually a really hard question to answer. There is no right and wrong. It's not just like, okay, I got this $10,000, amazing, or $1 million, amazing. It's very contextual and very subjective. And sometimes you just have to storytell within the company. The same product can be a success in another company, but a failure in the other. So for example, 我在 Discord 的时候，我第一年就是 launch a product called Forum Channels， 就像 Reddit， 但是在Discord。谢谢。But when I first launched, it didn't move any metrics. 所以很多 VP 就觉得我是 failure， 然后很难。I had to like defend why it was a good product, why we can't like just throw it away, we can't deprecate it, we can't delete it. And 6个月后 we saw our numbers skyrocket. It took 6 months for us to finally see a big difference, like over 50% of our communities use it. And that's a really large amount in terms of adoption. But you have to, as a PM, you have to take all of that like feedback and own the narrative. You have to think, okay, people are gonna think that this was a failure. How do I create the story so that they don't think that way? So that they don't like take away my engineers and cut the project.
怎么样去包装这个
Yeah.
对，怎么去包装这个故事，对。
Yeah, a lot of storytelling.
我觉得很有趣，因为很多时候很多公司会以数据，就是说是数据导向 ，data driven，metric driven， 然后很多时候数据只告诉你片面的故事。像在 Instagram 说是很多数据，看数据说，这个看起来是很失败的产品，但是后面发现，其实有其他的东西是我们没有注意到的。
对。
那身为一个 PM， 怎么样去
Explain?
怎么样去包装？怎么样去 How do you kind of make that narrative?
There's a couple. So there are some products like redesigns that will never do well in metrics because you're creating a completely different look. Your metrics are actually going to tank. So you have to set expectations and be like, hey, everyone, we are going to build this redesign to make the navigation way better in these new design principles so that the long-term investment is going to be a lot better and we don't have as much tech debt. We expect like a decline in the first month or two, and we want to get it to net neutral, and then it's a shift. That's one.
打预防针。
打预防针是什么？
It's like it's like prepping them for expectations.
Yeah,
lowering
that.
expectations. Yeah.
The second is if it is foundational. Like if I'm going to build something and that like 3 other teams will need it to build their thing, then it unblocks them. I don't need any metrics, right? And then I think the third is if it takes a lot of time. Like creator economy, if you're creating a new behavior, then you can't just say, oh, it didn't show results in 2 weeks. Yeah.
So in the situation where you know how the Discord forums took like 6 months for it to finally start showing positive metrics, over the 6 months, how do you convince? Because on Instagram or Messenger, often when a feature comes out, 或是它产品出来之后，发现数据不好，某个指标掉了，他们就马上砍 ，they stop it immediately, they unship it immediately. 你怎么可以撑过6个月去跟他们说，这个是我们慢慢等它，耐心等它，你怎么包装这个故事让他们？
那时候很难，真的，那时候好累哦。I cried a lot. I lost a promotion because of it. Yeah, because I didn't foresee it, and everything was my fault. And as a product manager, 如果你的产品是 success, 那是大家的 success. 但是如果是 failure, it's your fault because you made the decision. So you have to take responsibility. And I try to explain, this is going to take a long time for adoption. We didn't create it to boost engagement. We created it for a foundational conversation. And sometimes that's not enough. And you just have to go to the VP and be like, trust me. And then put your freaking, just put yourself out there. But I think sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. It depends on your relationship with the VP. If the VP trusts you and they're like, okay, fine. If you say so, you're responsible 6 months down the line, you have to report back. Then you have to accept it.
So when it did work out, 后来数据好的时候就因此得到 promotion 吗？
没有。Yeah, because it's on my record now. Promotions are long term, you know. It takes several years. They'll be like, oh, remember that one time we didn't do that properly? Can you do it again? Then do it right. And I did it right the next time, but there are other problems. But promotion's a whole other topic, Jackie. Don't worry about it. It's a whole game. But I would say that I think I really learned a lot from it, and I know how to prepare for the next launch, and that's really good for me. Yeah, it was a hard time. Okay, so Chloe, 你讲这个工作很 crazy. 为什么? Why do you have it? Why even PM? Why should I even be in PM? It sounds crazy. The first, it pays really well. Okay, all right. 我们都想要赚钱 take care of our 爸爸妈妈 and have a family. It's really important for us to face that reality. Number 2, it's a prestigious and stable career path. They're the decision makers in a lot of companies, and they, at least in Silicon Valley, everyone's always hiring for PMs, so it's very well sought after. Yeah, and then.
Yeah.
And then number 3 is a lot of people do it if they want to start your own company because there's a lot of transferable skills. If you want to be the decision maker, you have to learn somewhere. Number 4 is you just enjoy leadership, like not in the sense where, oh, I like leadership, but in the sense where you love like hustling people and corralling people and getting them around a vision and meeting with people and making sure they're having a good time, they understand, and unblocking, like that is a really core part of what PM personalities are like. Like they're really like club president types.
Were you a club president?
I was.
TASA?
No, not TASA, but a lot of other.
T Club?
I was.
Oh,
Key
okay.
Wins.
Okay.
It's a 32nd district of Key Club International.
Oh, awesome.
And number 5 is you can't help but gravitate towards solving for your customers. Like you're always thinking, oh, what could be better? What would they want? This is not right. This is so dumb. Why would we not do this? And you're so obsessed with that, and you want to make that change. You want to take that first step. So usually the PMs are the ones that have to take the first step.
我觉得3、4、5的超自己认同，都很认同，但我觉得3、4、5特别就是有感受，因为我觉得像认识很多那些做新创的人，然后他们做自己当老板出来的，他们有 PM 的经验，我觉得他们职业真的很大的帮助。因为我觉得我那时候在 Facebook 的时候跟很多 PM 合作嘛，然后我是工程师，然后我内心就一直很崇拜所有的 PM， 我觉得他们是我的就是英雄，因为他们都是我看过觉得他们就是 IQ 跟 EQ 都要够的人才有办法当工作，所以我真的觉得当 PM 真的很不简单。然后除了对你的职业很有帮助之外，对你的人生像是内容创作啦，或是规划旅行，或是规划你人生，都是可以 transfer 的，很容易可以同样使用的一些技能，所以对吧？我觉得当 PM 真的很厉害，
谢谢。
对吧？然后也要真的 EQ 要够高，可以真的是激发其他人，去带动其他人，去当个领导者。
Thanks, Jackie. Wow, so nice. So I was asked to share the career lessons that I have learned over the years, and I didn't exactly know how to think about this. So I thought about this like, if I were to go back to my 22-year-old self and give her some advice, what would they be? And I kind of put them into 3 different pillars. The first is 100% money. Okay, 钱. And the first is really to learn how to negotiate the heck out of your total compensation, your TC, because you need to fight for yourself. Like, I think a lot of people are grateful to have the job, and yes, it's really important that you can be grateful, but you need to fight for your salary, especially if you're a woman, especially if you're a person of color, especially if you come from a low-income background, you need to fight for it. I think there is a world where you work at a job and you get paid really well for it. You can have it all, and you should have it all. And a lot of people just don't try, so they spend like years saying, oh, I'm working really hard at this company, but I'm not being paid that well, and I really want a promotion. So you're always thinking about the promotion, but you're not thinking about your own growth, your own job, and being happy. And most people get really bitter. And so would you rather spend 2 weeks in the negotiations working really hard, or spend 2 years trying to get the promotion that they'll never give you? Think about it. Negotiate as hard as you can. You should read Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. I also summarized it in a video, but I think that book is incredibly good. That changed the way that I thought about negotiating.
我觉得特别是国外找工作的时候，其实所有的公司会 HR， 他们开薪水的时候都会有一个 range， 然后会预期你会跟他预期会跟他谈判。所以如果你不争取多个5%、10%，这是你的损失。我不知道台湾公司可能也会有一点这样的。但我觉得台湾人可能比较害羞，会比较不敢去争取说我要加薪，但我觉得在职涯上，特别是国外是一个很正常。对，你要知道你自己的身价是什么，自己值得什么。我记得那时候刚开始我在脸书的时候，我也是被给很低的 offer， 然后也是经过大概几个礼拜的谈判，然后就加了20%，最后谈20%的差别。所以 HR 通常都会有那个空间，他只是看你敢不敢要而已。对，然后你越敢要，他就会觉得说哇。这个人既然这么敢，他应该是很厉害，应该是很值得 hire 的。
对 I agree.
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, and if they pay you more, they think you're worth the investment, and they'll treat you better, which is kind of weird. Isn't that crazy? Such a weird mentality, but yes.
尊重自己，别人会尊重你。
对，是的。The second is learn to build your wealth. So a lot of people think that you just make money from your salary, and yes, salary can be like cool. But in the world of tech, you really build it through your equity, your ownership, your stocks, your RSUs, and you really have to understand what this is. I had no idea what this is when I first started, and so I think a really standard guide is the Holly Guide to Equity Compensation. Just Google it, and it's really long. Yeah. And the third is use your benefits. Like I said, sometimes you make career decisions because you want to have a baby, 生小孩, like marry, or get a gender transformation. That's actually really popular with certain companies.
Or freeze your eggs.
Oh yeah, freeze your eggs. And insurance, everything. It's you make these decisions. You join companies because of the benefits. Retirement, all really important. Yeah, money. The next category is ownership. This is kind of the attitude that I really wish I adopted earlier. The first is no one can own your career but you. Like, I think a lot of junior people or people out of college, they get really mad at the system. Like, oh, the company, my boss is really bad. I'm not getting opportunities. It doesn't matter. You just have to figure it out. You have to go find it. Your boss is not going to help you with your own career. They're helping their career, and you can just sit there and let your career happen for you, or you can just take it and make it happen for yourself. But no one is going to care about your career except you. You really have to own it. The second is you got to develop your own opinion. I hate working with people who don't have an opinion. I'm like, why are you here? I'm not here to tell you, like, this is not homework. I don't want to create homework for you. What do you think? What is your opinion on it? And I think what I hate is when I see people just blindly accept what their superiors say, because superiors are very much not right most of the time, because they're not at the front lines and they don't see the users, they don't see the data. They're in meetings all day, so they're actually very removed and they only make decisions off of their gut instinct and like high level strategy. So you need to be the one to be like, actually, no, I don't think you should do that. And this is the reason, this is a better proposal, and here's why.
如果你这样讲的话，就是不要听一些老板的话，但是老板又很白目，然后
白目哦，
那怎么办？你怎么样去用一个正确的、好的态度去跟他们说，哎，你在说什么？
Yeah. You have to be very graceful. Be like, I understand. Oh, I hear what you're saying, and this is the problem that we agree on. If you agree on the problem, that's really easy. Everyone can debate the solution. But if the problem you disagree with, then that's really hard. To be like, okay, does your solution solve this problem? Does my solution solve it better? And here's why I would think it's better than yours.
找到共同的问题，你在解决问题是什么？
对，
再去找各自适合的解决方法，再去讨论。
然后你要了解你的老板的how they think about problem solving. Some people love data. You have to have data. Some people like storytelling. Like, imagine if you're in this person's shoes. Imagine if like an Uber driver, blah blah blah. Like I think it depends on the way that they resonate with problems.
但我觉得这可以segue到你的下一个点，就是我觉得这个社会上很多人其实不会有自己的很没有主见，对不对？
Yeah.
就是很少人，很多人会很没有自己的主见，然后都是听从别人，不然听社会的，听爸妈或者听一些老师什么的想法，对，怎么样去可以让我们更有主见？
Third is master the art of asking good questions. I think when I was really young, I would just sit there and quiet take notes, and I think, oh, I'm just gonna ask later. I'm never asking later. Like, that never happens. So you should be able to ask the question right then and there, because more likely than not, half of the other room will not know what's happening. And actually, as you get more senior, I will find more senior people are actually really good at asking questions. You're always doing something new, especially when you're getting more senior. You're doing new in industry, no one knows what they're doing, so let's collaborate together. And you need to be that first person to ask like the pointed question to move the conversation forward.
How do you know if you're asking the right questions?
You don't actually have to ask the right questions. You can ask it in a really like kind way to be like, hey, this is a naive question. Can you define what this is? What do you mean by that? And or you can be like, I think we have a lot of new people in the room. Can we just start and explain what this was? So even if it's like a dumb question, you can frame it, package it in a way where it's like it's good, it's fine.
Yeah. 就是连问题的怎么问问题也要去包装它这样。
Yeah. Well, so that's ownership. The next category, the last pillar, is protection. One is document everything. I literally mean freaking everything, like every one-on-one with your manager, especially every meeting with that person you hate, every meeting with HR, engineers, or someone who's like dealing with something important with you, you gotta document it. Because I guess going back, if anything bad happens to you, the first question they'll be like, oh, do you have documentation? Do you have evidence? Well, I don't have it on paper, so I can't help you. So do that to protect yourself. Oh, and also if someone says verbally, I'm gonna give you, if you work on this project, I'll give you a raise. Record it, all right? Or in an email, be like, hey, so you're saying if I work on this project, I can get a raise. Confirming via email that this is gonna happen. So you don't get screwed over.
很多人会说就是，can we get that on paper?
Yeah, get that on paper.
Yeah.
Or can you send me a confirmation? Like, can you recap?
对，因为很多老板或是什么会说，就会嘴上说说而已嘛，但是要你做件事情，他其实不一定会一个月后就忘了嘛，所以很多时候可以跟他说，你可以用 email 的方式或讯息的方式，跟我确认这件事情，就有这个证据可以留着。
The second is build your BS meter. So as a PM, you're working with all kinds of people that are new, and they'll be like, oh, this will take 2 months. And you'll be like, it's not going to take 2 months. And you have to tell them that. And you have to call them out on their BS. Like, you have to know that if an engineer is going to lie to you or a designer is going to lie to you, you have to have that. And you can't just say, oh, okay, all right, and then tell the other person, it's going to take 2 months. Like, you're pushing your product as fast as possible, and you're on the winning team. So how do you make your team win? Is you got to get people to work kind of for you, but not for you. Yeah, BS meter. And then the third is you don't owe your company anything. I think it's like Stockholm syndrome sometimes. When you're in a really toxic company, you think, oh, I see one. You know, it's personal experience over there. Ooh. But yeah, toxic companies, sometimes you feel even more indebted to them. Oh, I have to do this. I feel bad if I leave. I feel bad if I take a sick day. I feel bad if I quit because all my teammates are going to get screwed over. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. They will fire you in a second. Okay? They'll lay you off in a second. And you can only take care of your own mental health and your whatever. So clock out. Yeah. Quit. Get that money and leave. And on that note, know when to leave. I think I am notorious for leaving my companies a little too early, but I would say that life is very long and also life is very short. And when you know something's not serving you, you gotta have the courage to leave because you're serving your future self. And I think I wish I knew how to leave earlier. Yeah, I actually did. It wasn't until I left that I knew how to 尊重我自己, you know.
感觉跟感情很像。
Like relationships?
Yes.
That's complicated, 真的 Yeah.
Yeah. 但我真的蛮认同的，就是 you don't owe your company anything. And 我在每份工作都会想，就是有什么东西是我带着走的，什么东西是我带不走的。像很多公司会给你一些很烦人的一些体系 ，a lot of like operations like bureaucracy 很多这种政治东西。然后你可能会花很多时间去想，这个很重要，这个很重要。但你想想看，就是有些东西是只有在这个 context 下才有用的，然后是你带不走的。然后有些东西是你真的学的一些新技术是可以带走的。我觉得之后会多 focus 在那些你带走的东西是很重要的。Yeah. 我可能在 Instagram 5年啊，我很后悔很多时候那时候focus 上一些东西，我觉得是带不走的，是很浪费时间的。
像什么？
像是举例，就是我那时候是做 iOS 工程师嘛，然后那时候因为我 iOS 写得很好，然后我就写得很快，然后那时候就没有去尝试一些可能其他的东西，像 Android 啊、后端、前端，然后我其实蛮后悔，因为我觉得大公司会给你一个环境，让你去多学习不同的技术，多尝试不同的东西。但是很多人就觉得说，你就安逸嘛，就觉得我如果要升迁，我这个技能很在行，我就继续做下去。但你不会想说，我要去尝试不同的。但你想想看，就是这些东西是你如果去尝试不同的东西，这是可以带走的。所以很多时候 prioritizing your learning over your efficiency, optimism, efficiency for like the raise promotion is a lot better.
I agree. Yeah. That's a good example. Thank you, Jackie. 你有好多经验哦。
So when do you know when to leave?
I think you have to understand the opportunities at your company. If you can transfer to another team, if it's your manager's problem, you just need another manager. Or if there is a new, I guess, product pillar or like problem that you can take on. But if it's no longer serving you, then you should try to make moves immediately. I think when I stayed longer and I tried to make things work, it just got worse over time. But sometimes you can make that decision for yourself. Like maybe a company's like in a shit show right now, but I will stay here because I am on my visa, or I just want to stay here for my equity, and then just will detach. But you have to decide that. You have to know when to mentally leave too, mentally and emotionally before you physically leave. So that's really important.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the stuff we talked about today, just to summarize, on like owning your career, 很多是这种对自己的尊重，对，你知道你自己是值得多少钱，知道自己不值得什么 BS， 然后知道自己要学什么东西是重要的，然后因为你尊重自己，你才不会跟一些可能 BS 浪费时间，然后也不会在一些不好的环境里浪费自己的资源，然后知道什么时候该走就走。所以回到从根本来就 start like 尊重自己的资源，尊重自己的价值。
I love that. Thank you. 谢谢。
Okay, 谢谢各位。
Thank you.
你好准时哦。
I know。
有时间控得很好。Hello， 那线上的朋友大家好，线下的朋友大家好。那我们接下来会有大概20分钟左右的 Q&A session。那这些问题都是来自于大家刚刚在 Slido 上面提问，或者是 YouTube 聊天室线上朋友的提问。那我们会交叉的来请 Chloe 跟 Jackie 来分享这些题目。首先呢，第一题是我们的导播朋友有帮我们中文、英文都翻出来，因为可能就是兼顾大家的。好，第一题是你是如何培养你的产品意识的？如何学会跟难以共事的工程师进行有效沟通？那我们请 Chloe 来分享。
The first question is how do you develop your product sense? 这是我是选的 product pillar， 就是我很喜欢的 product。Social media, TikTok, Facebook, Discord, YouTube, creator economy， 因为我很了解那些 customers。但是如果我是 fintech， 我什么都不会。Medical tech, I have no idea. I can't do it. But I really understood. I knew exactly what to do and what not to do. So I think that was really important. Like I could tell if this is gonna fail or not. Just be like, it's not gonna work. This is why, and this is how you make it work.
Are you always right?
I would say I'm pretty top of industry in creator economy products because I am a creator, I'm a customer, and I'm a product manager, and I spend a lot of time. Like my main thing is I do a lot of user research. Like that is my superpower. User empathy and user research is my superpower as a PM. Yeah, so that's how I did it.
那下一题是呢，面对分歧的时候，如何管理利害关系人，例如商业团队或者是 local team。
Actually, I didn't 上一个问题。
怎么跟难以和共事的工程师合作？
对，我没有讲。Basically, how do you work with engineers who suck? Basically, I will say. So I have a love-hate relationships with engineers. I'm so sorry. I don't like most of you. You know how you said, oh, PMs have to have IQ and EQ? Yeah, engineers only need IQ and they're good. Okay, so I've worked with some really nasty people. And unfortunately, my director has told me, Chloe, you just have to eat shit. You just have to take it. It doesn't matter. You're a PM. You just have to take it. I had engineers complain to me and be like, oh, you're so pushy. And I'm like, if I were a guy, would you say the same thing, basically? And it struggles. There's a lot of struggles. They are on a higher level in the hierarchy of who gets their needs to be met. Engineers are number one because whole Silicon Valley needs engineers. So every need they have, they give. And so PMs just have to take it. But I think I have to learn and listen to every engineer to understand what are they motivated by and what are they triggered by. What do they like, what do they not like, and build that communication, muscle together. The thing about reorgs is that you change your engineers every time, and that creates the worst environment because it takes so long to build that trust and respect and rapport. And I hate getting reorged because I have to do that whole dance again. I spent months and months and months to build trust, learn about their background, know who they are, and finally have a good relationship. So I just do my best. This is the short answer.
好，谢谢 Chloe 的分享。那下一题就是刚才已经有念过的，面对分歧的时候呢，如何管理利害关系人，例如 sales team, local team。
So I think the question is how do you manage stakeholders and when they face disagreement? Honestly, it happens all the time. One team will want something and one team will want something else, and you have to be the bearer of bad news. So to say, oh, because of our company priorities, we have to do this, and here are limited resources. This is this is what you care about, and I hear you, and this is how we're going to try to get there, but we can't do it within this time frame. But what we can do is this, or you can go to this team to figure it out, and I'll help introduce you. So you have to give them what's realistic and alternatives and circling back, and you can always push things back. But be like, okay, maybe in 6 months we can reconnect, but every stakeholder is going to disagree all the time. Yeah, and it's actually not very hard, I think. Because it's very matter of fact. Everyone understands, oh, I can't do this. You don't have resources, but when? And you have to give them that answer.
用事实去说服。
Maybe add one more thing， 就是当个好的聆听者很重要，就是 make them feel like they're heard.
Yes.
因为有时候你不能解决他的问题，但你可以至少让他觉得你了解他的问题，他就觉得 OK， 可能被解决一半这样。 EQ 的 management，emotional management。
Yeah, it's important. 而且他们的 purview is very small, so their solution, what they want, is usually not the right solution. They'll be like, okay, I hear you, but we're actually going to build that in 6 months, and it's actually better than what you're proposing. And here's why. Bring them along the journey with you.
好，下一题，请问可以分享你如何写进入 Discord 的 resume？
我没有给他们我的 resume， 因为他们找到我的 LinkedIn。Yeah.
是被 hunt 的。
对，我现在的 stage of my career 都是被 hunted。
那可以请各位跟我们分享几个就是写 resume 的技巧。
Yeah, I actually have a slide on this, but it's in the skipped slides section. Yeah, but essentially, it's okay. I can summarize.
Okay.
Yeah. Essentially, use the word product everywhere in your resume, keywords. A recruiter told me to put the words in there and then turn it to white. So then they key it, they search it, but you don't have it. So like, oh, why? The second is, if you don't.
SEO tech.
Yeah. But whatever, you're probably not going to make it if you don't have those actual words. The second is like for product management, we're looking for people who have experience shipping product and working with the team and knowing what failed and what didn't fail. So like just showing I launched X product that raised this amount in sales, working with 10 engineers and 2 designers under this category, or worked with executives, or launched this, shipped that. But don't ever say assist, helped, wrote a roadmap. Nobody cares if you wrote a roadmap. We want to know if you actually ship stuff. That's the bottom line. Product managers ship products. If you write like, oh, I wrote a strategy, like it doesn't matter if you wrote a strategy. If it didn't come to fruition, you're useless. So how do you get to end game to show that? Yeah, that's most of it. Use metrics, 1 page, 3 bullet points max per line, and just match the keywords that you see from the job rec and be like, how do I envision the ideal candidate that they want and put it on my resume?
听起来其实就是蛮典型的写履历的技巧 ，bullet point， 然后用 stronger， 强的动词，对，尽量避免就是帮忙或者是协助这样的弱的动词。然后 metrics 很重要，而不是只说自己做了什么事情，而是就是带来什么样的成果。
对，然后如果你没有那个经验的话 ，you just have to ask for it. You have to do it yourself. 如果你现在的工作没有这个机会 ，you have to go ask your manager, go ask someone else, go do it for free, go work on your own hackathon. So you have to have it. There's no one will take you without it, unless you're really, really lucky. Yeah.
好，那我们来到下一题。请问 Chloe 是如何获得专案管理的专业知识？是自己学的呢，还是 learn from lesson？
Project management experience. 我以前在一个 organization 叫 GLO Global Leadership Organization， 然后在台湾也有 ，and it taught me how to do project management a lot and like public speaking, meeting management, vision setting. So I think I learned a lot from there, how to facilitate a team of people to, just work on an event or a project. Yeah. But I think you can't learn this with online courses. I don't believe it. Yeah, unless the course actually makes you do a project and work with people, but you just have to be able to do it yourself.
Okay, next one. 当你正在开会，但是无法当场做出决定的时候，你会如何应对这种状况？能不能举一些实际发生过的例子？
Oh, yeah. So how do you cope with a situation when you're in a meeting and you cannot drive a decision on the spot? It happens a lot. The executives will say, like, what's your take on it? Do you have an answer? And sometimes I don't have an answer. And then my manager will say after the meeting, hey, you need to have an answer for this. Like, you can't just get away with, oh, I'll think about it. So a lot of it is trying to frame that you have been thinking about that problem, but you may not have the answer. Be like, hey, so we've been thinking about this a lot. And here are the problems that we're running into. What do you think? And then flip it back on them. Because if people think you have the answers all the time, then you are bottlenecking the success of your team. Whereas great ideas come from everyone. So you have to learn how to leverage everyone's ideas and talents in the same meeting room in that time. So just flip it back onto them, or be like, I don't have the answer right now, but here's what I will do to get the answer.
不一定要自己下决定，而是要集众人的智慧这样。
我觉得这里回到你刚刚分享过，就是很多时候问对的问题比找对答案还重要。
好，再来是下一题，这一题有点小复杂。如何发想一个新功能？那要进行一个 PM 的工作，要怎么学？应该说是不是一定要学 UX、消费心理、商业价值？这些都是一位 PM 需要具备的技能吗？所以它有2个问题，第一个是如何发想新功能。那我们先请Chloe回答这个好了。
Yeah, actually, 如果你真的了解你的 customer, having all the new feature ideas is very easy. Like you have a whole list of things. You always have a whole list. And 如果你没有的话, then just talk to your customers. They always are complaining every day. Go to Reddit and go to like the Reddit page. You'll see everyone complaining. Yeah, it's very easy.
I think maybe a better question is how do you prioritize all the different features?
It depends on what the company needs. So like if you're in pre-IPO phase, what do you need to do to IPO properly? If you are very mature and you're in an experimental phase, or if you are, you're on the research team, like the experimental team, and you have to go after like AI products. I want to prioritize the AI part, not the customer part. Like how can we experiment and try different things just for the hell of it? So it depends on the company's priorities. So usually PMs have to be very aware and in tune with what your C-suite wants for the company to succeed this year.
好，下一题呢是刚那一题的第2个小题，请问 PM 一定要学 UX、消费心理跟商业价值吗？
我刚想追问一个问题，
请说。
再补一个就是但我忘记了，但我想到了，就你刚刚说就是怎么去找新功能的，要 talk to， 如果你不知道的话，要 talk to your customers。但很多时候你的客户、你的用户其实不知道他们想要什么。他们说他们想要的东西，不见得是真的是他们真的想要的东西，或是最好的东西。对，然后 Steve Jobs 说这种类似的话 ，You don't know what they want。所以什么时候你知道，你怎么去看的 differentiate， 去知道说，使用者说他想要什么，但他们真正想要什么，或是你觉得他们想要什么，怎么去 which side do you take？
I think actually that they don't know what they want, but they know what their life looks like. They know what their workflow is, and if they explain the workflow, like how do I like maybe Cake Resume in Taiwan? How do I meet people like mentors or learn about career paths? I try to go to a career fair, meet a lot of people. It's kind of hard. I try to talk to my alumni. I talk to my friend. I look at Jackie's podcast. But then you're like, they're actually really inefficient. So why don't I think I can make your life better. They might not know it's a problem, but you see that it's very inefficient from your experiences and you fit into their life in a very specific way. So I don't think they will say, I want Cake Resume or I want this podcast. They will say, this is my life. And this is kind of hard sometimes, but this is my goal. And they just want to get to the goal faster. Yeah.
OK， 好，那我们再回到刚刚那一题，就是 Chloe 觉得 PM 有哪些必备技能？那这位参加者呢，他提的，比如说像是 UX， 或者是心理学，或者是不是也要懂商业价值？
是要知道 you have to understand all of this, but you don't need to take a class on it. I don't think there's a lot of places to learn. 我觉得 sometimes I think basic schedule management is something you have to learn just by being really detail oriented. I really don't know how to teach that. UX and consumer psychology, you can learn a lot of that just by the other PMs in the room. Unless you're the first PM, I think Annie, you're the first PM for Cake Resume, right? Yeah, that's really hard. But I think there are a lot of people who worked at the company before you, most likely, that understand the product well enough for you to learn from. So I think the spirit of this question is like, these are skill sets. Do I need them? How do I get them? This is how I'm interpreting it. And yes, you need them. You don't need to necessarily take a course. You can learn them from your peers. You can learn them from customers and people who exist at the company.
就是还是要学，但是不是说一定要很正式的去学，主要还是说从经验学或者从同事身上学这样。
对 ，it has to be your current 经验，因为你下次的工作他们会问你what is like a UX problem that you solved before, and you always have to go back to your previous experiences. So you're constantly looking for ways to build the skill set and have your work stories match it.
没问题。好，下一题我觉得很有趣，而且也蛮重要的。请问 Chloe 如何规划你的 PM career？ 无论是内部的 promotion 或者是跳槽， 会以什么样的目标为你的终成目标？3到5年。
Is this asking me where do I see myself in 3 to 5 years?
Yeah.
I think more so like when you transition between different jobs, how do you kind of map that out the next not necessarily 3 years from now, but every 3 years, how do you remap?
Every job I'm like, I'm going to stay here forever. So I don't know. I always think of, oh, I'm going to stay, oh my God, I'm at Facebook, woo! Or like, I'm at TikTok, this is my company. And the job fashion is not as nice inside. It's not a fit. And I try to find other teams in the company. I try to stay. And it's just not a fit, and I have to leave.
Yeah, I guess the question is like, how do you PM your PM career? Like, do you stay at the same job? Do you hop? Do you negotiate for more? Do you switch teams? Right?
Yeah.
How do you explore all the options and find out what's best for you?
It depends on the stage of the era I am in. And right now, I'm in the I don't want to work too hard era. And I'm really tired of interviewing, and I really want to stay, please. I just want to like chill. But before, I really wanted to learn. And if I wasn't in a place to learn, then it's a waste of my time. But now I think I learned a lot. And I'm ready to just like, oh, hi, clock in and then clock out, and then go work on my own things, exercise, be healthy, health as well. But I actually don't think about, or I guess a more helpful answer is, I don't take every opportunity based on money. Like if I did, I would go work at Roblox, or I work at TikTok, or I work at, I don't know, Robinhood. But I need to have a clear career narrative. Because if I go random jobs, then someone looks at my resume like, what are you doing? And if I don't know how to tell the story, then I'm not going to be hireable, and I'm not going to be recession proof. And I won't be able to build a stronger skill set. Yeah, so I only take jobs within this.
就怎么去包装你的职涯故事，然后怎么把你的职涯的故事记起来。
It has to compound.
对。
Yeah. And 现在我在 Discord 里面，我有很多 opportunity，我可以去 monetization, I can go to engagement, I could trust and safety, I can do machine learning, but I really want to focus on creators and monetization because I think that is the future. I think that's going to take me farther.
我觉得找到你职涯上最大的 leverage 是什么重要？在每个公司每个地方，你的 leverage 是什么？
What
leverage?
What's my leverage like?
Yeah, how do you find the leverage in every situation you're in? Right? Is it the opportunity? Is it the money? Is it the growth? Is it the mentorship? Right?
Do you mean like, is your question, what is my priority at every company?
No, that's not a question. I'm just saying like.
Oh, you're making an observation.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm adding on to your question. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
OK， 好。好，接下来是如何从一位 project manager 到 product manager， 这中间有哪些技能是特别需要自己主动去补足的呢？
So the question is, how do I prepare? Hold on.
So from project manager to product manager.
When I'm going from project to product, how do I do that?
Yeah.
Okay. I think you learn a lot of you learn a lot of execution in project management, but project management is very specific. Like product management is just a form of project management for products. Like project management is like so many things. You can do programs, you can do education, you can do marketing, but then product is specifically your product and how to build it and ship it. And I think the biggest difference, is when you have to have a strong vision and strategy for long term. Like project is really short term. For 3 months, we're going to work on this and we're going to launch this and we're going to finish it and we're done. But for product, it's iterating. How do you know that Uber's done? How do you know that DoorDash is done? How do you know that YouTube's done? Like you don't. So you have to imagine the world with this product in the long term, and how do you fit this team in where that vision is today? And then value a team for it. So I think that is the biggest delta between the two.
好，再来呢，下一题是：当利害关系人认为你的产品失败的时候，你如何说明 ？How do you explain to your stakeholders if your product fails?
I think it's important to sometimes you can't like hide what people know. Like people can smell that you're lying. So sometimes a really good strategy is to just call out the elephant in the room. Like, hey guys, the product launch was not what we expected. This is what we expected, and here's how we fell short. And I want to be really candid with that. You can just say that. You can just say, I want to be upfront and honest. But what I think is it gave us learnings that we couldn't have gotten if we didn't do it. Like you think, oh, if it's a failure, we shouldn't have done it in the first place. but you kind of have to think about what can you take from it that's useful to the company. So you say, yeah, I didn't reach it, but here is what we learned for your other teams, and here's how you can take away from this, and this is what we're going to do differently next time. And now it's like very valuable.
好的，那我们准备的最后一题是，当你需要花钱做 A/B test 的时候，要如何说服你的 manager 或是你的 boss？ 如果有遇到什么样的挑战吗？
I don't understand this.
为什么 A/B testing？ 为什么 A/B testing 要花钱？
Yeah, 为什么？
是按钮就。哦，你说真的是资源吗？还是？我觉得这个应该就是你不测你怎么知道这产品这个钱该花吧？这个资源应该是很值得花，对啊。因为感觉如果你没有 test 没有 A/B test 的话，你可能完全不知道你等于是就是跟你闭眼睛设备表一样，根本完全不知道我在干嘛，对。
I'm still stuck on the question.
It's like how do you convince your manager to put resources into like testing A/B testing your products? And I'm saying that it's like if you don't test your product, what are you building? You have no idea.
You don't always A/B test your products. Sometimes you just launch it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So actually, my tests have been 0 to 1, or my products have been 0 to 1. I don't A/B test. Because A/B test is good for what exists today, and you want to change the behavior. But 0 to 1 is very different. You actually like have to tell the story of why people should invest in this. And success is actually really, really, you can't define it very easily. There's no comparable, and there's no very clear benchmark. So I guess you have to say, I know this will work when I see this. Yeah, that's the big statement to convince.
What does success look like?
Yeah, but you don't have to say it has to increase 10%. You have to say, for forum channels is a place for Discord members to have topical discussions, because the problem is everyone is, seeing a linear discussion and only like 1 or 2 people can talk at the same time. But what if multiple people can talk with different topics in the same channel? And I think we should build it. And here are the foundational behaviors I see in this world of online communities and this trend, and this is here to stay. If we don't do it, we're going to be behind. And this is a 0 to 1, this is a new behavior. There is no comparable, so we have to launch something like this, and I know that this will have good compounding effects for the future. Yeah.
好的，非常感谢 Chloe。那我们现在还剩下一点点时间，可以开放现场的参加者，有没有任何人还有任何问题想要提问？那欢迎直接举手。有吗？好，请你大声的说出你的问题。
麦克风给他。
I think you should take the mic.
Hi, Chloe. Thank you for sharing. The first question is, what are some red flags that you see that you might need to quit? And how do you prevent from quit when you see that red flags?
Yeah.
Repeat the question.
Okay, so the question is, what red flags do you see in your job that you need to quit, and how do you prepare to quit? And it depends on how resilient you are and how much you care about your job. Like, I think a lot of people stayed at TikTok and they just ignored all the red flags, but they can detach from the company and then be like, okay, I know it's bad, but I am here to do what I need to do, and then just leave. And that's great. And then they get to invest their equity and they get what they want. But for me, I really want a place where I can ship amazing product and be in a place where I can be long-term. And the fact that I was working until midnight and I had meetings from 8 to 11, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. I couldn't hang out with my friends. I couldn't hang out with my boyfriend. I was crying all the time. I didn't feel seen. Those were enough for me to be like, I don't see a future here. If I don't see a future here, I don't know why I'm here. So I'm just gonna quit. But what I prepared is, I don't tell anyone of that, okay? You don't say anything. You interview, you get the offer, and then you delay it as much as possible. And then I use my unlimited sick days to just hang out. And then I'll start being like, oh, you need help on that project? Oh, I don't think I could do it. I'm so busy with something else. Don't take on more work. Slowly phase out. Talk to all your mentors. Like anyone at the company you respect, you like, tell them, have one-on-ones with them, ask them good questions, build a relationship outside of work, get their personal number, meet them for coffee, so that when you quit and they quit, you can have a lifelong relationship with them. and use all my benefits, gym, medical, do my annual like dentist. And then okay, this is like illegal-ish, but I just download all the stuff. I download all my stuff for learnings, like templates, I learn everything. Dude, I think, how are we gonna get better? Everyone does it. All the big startup founders, they learn from their previous. Like if you're obsessed with learning, you're gonna get somewhere in your life. And if you are gonna put this away and not take from it and apply it to your next life, like you probably just don't have the personality to be a founder, and that's okay. But I really love like seeing what I can grow from and teaching others too. So all my templates I built because I'm constantly going back to it, thinking one day this will be helpful, one day, yeah.
我想补充一个回答，就是我觉得关于 red flags 的问题，就是知道你的 red flag 是什么，我觉得更重要。就是我觉得我在开始每份工作的时候，我的习惯会先写个离职书，然后放在抽屉里，先把它写好 ，write my resignation letter first。所以你知道这个工作你的预期是什么，然后在它没有达到的时候，你很清楚看得出来，red flag 是什么样子。对。
好，我们还有最后一个问题的时间，然后大家不要偷举，我要数一下。
他刚刚就举了，后面。
对，好，是不是刚刚那位朋友？好，
Hi, Chloe. Hi. Big fan. I've been following you for a while. Anyways, I want to ask, how do you improve storytelling skills, and how do you articulate yourselves better? Because, yeah, I was wondering if you have always been good at communicating. So your question is, how do I work on is it speaking skills? Communication? Storytelling. 我看很多动画片, I love the stories. I resonate with fun stories. Good, like just if I can get really sucked into something, I know they're a good storyteller, and that applies to the workforce too. I wasn't always a good communicator. I was bullied a lot in high school, and I was in Keylands, right? And my co-president kicked me out because there's like, you can't speak, you stutter all the time, you're not a leader. I'm like, no, I am. So I actually did take a lot of workshops, and I did GLO Glow, and I just kept working on it. Yeah, I kept doing it until one day I felt comfortable doing it on the fly. And it's really just trial by fire to keep doing it. And then even right now, I'm not that good. I think some of my managers have really helped me to be more succinct, to get to the point, to know who's in the room and know how to cater to that audience. And so that's how I've been working on it. My biggest learning right now is being able to storytell with the right elevation of detail. So if an executive is in the room, I can't go into detail. But if it's an engineer or a designer, I need to go into it. So like I have to know the audience first. But yeah, it took a long time.
好，那因为时间的关系呢，我们的现场提问就先到这边。那等一下还会有一点点时间，大家如果有兴趣的话，可以再继续留下来跟 Chloe 还有 Jackie 交流。那最后呢，想请大家花个2分钟的时间，帮我们填一下本次活动的回馈问卷。那线上的朋友也欢迎你们填一下。然后主要就是我们想要知道说，今天准备的内容还有整个活动的设计流程是不是都能符合大家的需求。那如果说未来有特别想要听哪类主题或者是哪些职涯分享，也都欢迎在问卷里面跟我们提供你的想法。那 KGResume 期待未来可以持续为大家提供能够帮得上大家的，不管是内容或是像今天这样子的实体活动。好 ，Next. Leave 1 minute for everybody to fill in.
Okay. Take a picture?
Yes. After a minute.
Okay.
Filling out this survey.
Okay. Can you take this? My nose. OK。
好的，那线上的朋友，我们就要先跟你们说再见了。那这个直播呢会一直长存在 Cake Resume 的 YouTube 上面，那欢迎大家有兴趣或是有需要的话，都可以再反复的收看。那就先跟大家说拜拜喽，拜拜，
拜拜。
好。